Let us look at adaptation a little bit more deeply. So once again, here is the process of case-based reasoning. I have kind of blurred the retrieval step. We're going to assume here that the retrieval of the case has already occurred, perhaps using the KNN method that we discussed last time. Last time we also said two other things. One, that a fundamental conundrum that AI agents face is that the problems they encounter are usually very complex from a computational perspective, and they have only limited cognitive resources. So then how can they address computationally complex problems with limited cognitive resources in near real time, seemingly effortlessly? And we said part of the answer might be that memory supplies with an answer. Well, we're going to make a small amendment to it. Memory supplies with an answer, an almost correct answer, so that the adaptation that we have to do is very small, very minor. It's a tweak. As an example of adaptation being mostly tweaking, consider the simple problem, the everyday problem of cooking meals. So you may have a recipe for your favorite kind of meal, and imagine at this time you're going to have your favorite meal perhaps with a different company, or perhaps with a different kind of salad or appetizer. Well, in that case, you might tweak your recipe for that particular dish. You're not going to change it in a radical way. You're simply making a small change to it.
So Ashok, another example of this that comes to mind very readily for me goes back to your programming example from earlier in this lesson. So one thing that almost every program I write has to do is input data from a file. But right now, I couldn't write that process from scratch. What I always do is I look at however I did it the previous time, and I'll modify it for the new folder or the new kind of data or the new kind of file I'm reading from. But really, I'm just taking the same process and tweaking it for my new problem.
That's a good point, David. In fact, in the design community, there is an old cliche which says that all design is redesign. Design is fundamentally evolutionary. We take old designs and we evolve them slightly, and that's how we get a new design. And the same thing is happening in case-based reasoning here. It is saying that often these particular solutions that we come up with are evolutionary in the nature, in the sense that they are small tweaks over previous solutions. So the next question becomes, how can we adapt an old case to meet the requirements of a new problem? There are potentially several ways of doing it. We will discuss three important ways, perhaps the three most common ways of adapting a case. They are called the model-based method, the recursive case-based method, and the rule-based method.